I'm Carlotta Mast, Editor-in-Chief of NewHope360.com, and I'm here at Expo East with Erik, Editor-in-Chief, and Meg Sinclair, publisher of Holistic Primary Care, which is a high-quality publication targeted to healthcare practitioners about the integrative medicine market. And I am really eager to talk to you because in my former role as editorial director of Nutrition Business Journal, we covered the practitioner channel quite significantly. And I was hoping that you could talk a little bit about how you've seen the attitude of conventional medical doctors shift toward integrative medicine. Have you seen a shift?
Huge shift. It's really changed quite a lot in the 10 years that we've been doing holistic primary care. In fact, we just did a survey of some of our readers, and 97% of them are taking supplements themselves. Something on the order of 92% are talking daily with patients about supplements, and 80% of them are recommending supplements. They're buying organic. About 56% say they're routinely buying organic food. I mean, there's been a big shift, a big change of attitude as the older generation retires and the younger generation of docs who grew up with a lot of this come into practice. We're seeing the change. Sure.
So do you think that's been the biggest driver, just kind of the demographic shift of the kind of medical community, or what else could be driving this change?
Patients. It's a combination of things. I think the public is really interested and engaged, and they're going to their doctors asking questions about things, and used to be the doctors could poo-poo it. Forgive us, we're fighting off the nor'easter cold here. The doctors would poo-poo it because they didn't know anything about it, and one thing we know about doctors is they hate looking stupid and seeming uninformed, so they would dismiss anything they learned in medical school. But what happened over the last decade is the medical schools realized that there's something valid here, people want it, there's obviously some reason why people are buying natural products and going to see holistic practitioners, so the mainstream medical community basically said to itself, we better get on board with this. So now most of the major medical schools have some sort of training in integrative medicine. You've got Andy Weil's program and Victoria Mays' program down in University of Arizona. You've got a great program at Duke. You've got all kinds of education, so they're learning more, and then you have the demographic shift on top of it. So it's a combination of factors.
Well, and I think it's definitely good news, but in the midst of all of this good news, I also hear that oftentimes supplement companies are not communicating in the right way, or could be doing more to connect with especially conventional medical doctors. And I don't know, Meg, do you have any thoughts on?
I think that's what I would turn over to Erik to really comment on. I think he has a little more expertise in that area.
I can confess I had a brief stint working in pharmaceutical PR and medical education on the pharma side, so I do understand a little bit about how they play. Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is inexperience. Most of the supplement companies haven't really worked with doctors much, so they don't necessarily understand, first of all, how pharma does it, and doctors are being inundated constantly by messaging from pharmaceutical companies, medical device companies, and whatnot. So it'd be good, first thing is to pay attention to how those companies do message to doctors, and I don't say we have to imitate their playbook, but it's good to understand how doctors are used to receiving information. And then the second piece of it is to really understand that when you're asking a doctor to recommend a product to their patients, you're really asking for a significant trust. Because if something goes wrong, guess who's going to get sued? It's going to be the doctor. And they're very lawyer conscious. They're always looking over the shoulder, who's going to sue me next and who's going to try and take my license. So if you're trying to engage them, you need to be sensitive to that and realize that no, they're not just reactionary and it's because they don't like supplements. It's because they need to feel confident that they're doing right by their patients.
Well, finally, I have one more question, because I know you're celebrating your 10th anniversary at Expo East, and I'm wondering, if you were to say briefly what your hope is for the next 10 years for holistic primary care, what are you hoping to achieve, or what changes are you hoping to see?
Well, I'm really intending to have much more communication between the practitioners and those whom they are serving. I think having a dialogue is always the best avenue for any kind of growth to begin. There needs to be a reciprocity. I think there also needs to be more responsibility, and I mean that in terms of the physicians being knowledgeable and open to the information which is available, which I think is occurring. I think that patients also need to be educated to be more responsible for their own health care. And I think the companies also, the supplement companies, the food companies as well, need to also be responsible for what they are bringing to the market. That it's not just about next quarter's earnings, that there is a long-term care about what is happening with the whole economic and environmental situation. This is the planet we live in, and we only have one.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best of luck. All the work you're doing is so important to this industry, so thank you for that.
Thanks, Carlotta, for having us. We really appreciate it. Thank you all for listening.
You.